I'm gonna show you how I found a manufacturer for my new Amazon FBA product. And there's 3 most common ways that people use to find a manufacturer for a product when they're going to sell it on Amazon. The first is to go to websites like Alibaba.com. And with Alibaba.com, there's hundreds of thousands of manufacturers and suppliers. And if you're looking to find a manufacturer overseas, this is the best website to do it. And I'm gonna show you step by step how you can actually find your own supplier or manufacturer. The next most common way to find a manufacturer is to go to google.com and just type in whatever you're looking to find a manufacturer for, space manufacturer. And you can see that there's hundreds of different companies here that will manufacture a product for you. I'll show you how to go through this, how to find a good manufacturer, and how to make sure you're getting the best price later in this video. But the third most common way that people use to find a manufacturer is to use thomasnet.com. And if you're looking to get a product manufactured in the United States, this is a huge directory of tens, if not hundreds of thousands of different manufacturers right here in the United States that can make your product for you. And I'll also show you how to use this later in this video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Travis. I'm currently launching this Amazon FBA business in just 7 days. And after I launch this business on Amazon, I'm going to be giving away this $100,000 business to you or one other lucky subscriber. So make sure to like and subscribe for a chance to win this business. And now let me show you how I found my manufacturer and how you can find your own manufacturer for a product you're going to sell on Amazon. And Alibaba.com is the #1 place I recommend if you're creating a product to sell online. You probably want to get it manufactured overseas. And this is the #1 directory for Chinese manufacturers and overseas manufacturers. And it's very simple to do. All you have to do is click on manufacturers and then type in what type of a product you're looking to make. So we're going to type in electrolyte powders. And you can see that there are hundreds of different manufacturers that can make the exact product we're looking to make. Now, just to be clear, if you are making a consumable product, I don't recommend making it overseas. So we didn't use Alibaba.com, but for most other types of products, I recommend using this website. And let me show you how to use Alibaba.com. The first thing is you're gonna always wanna make sure you work with a verified supplier. And to do that, you can click right here. And a verified supplier means that Alibaba has actually sent an inspector to their warehouse, their manufacturing facility, and verified that they're a legitimate business. The other thing you're going to want to do is click on trade assurance. This makes it so that Alibaba guarantees that when you send money to your manufacturer, you're going to get the products that you want. So now we have a list of different manufacturers that have trade assurance and are verified suppliers. Now there's not a lot of manufacturers for electrolyte powder overseas because, as I mentioned, most people that are making supplements are not going to do it overseas. So instead, let's use an example like flashcards. And I started an Amazon business with AJ called Cocktail Cards. And in our first year, we did over $500,000 in sales. And we did find our manufacturer using Alibaba.com. And you can see here there are a ton of companies. So as I mentioned, the first thing I'm going to do is click on trade assurance, as well as click on verified supplier. And you can see there still is a bunch of companies left after doing that because paper products is something that a lot of people do buy overseas. So the next thing we're gonna look at here is how long has this company been in business? This has been 10 years. This company's been in business for 7 years, 9 years. And that's one of the things that I like to look for is that I wanna work with a company that has been around for a little while. Another thing that you can look at is how many people they have on staff. And depending on what kind of business you're starting, you may want to work with a really big company, or if you're newer and you want to work with a smaller company, you can find a smaller company to work with. We can also see how much money in sales they've done through Alibaba, over $2 million, over 2.7, over $500,000. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is smaller businesses sometimes might be more willing to work with you if you're a new business. They may have smaller MOQs, also known as minimum order quantity. This is how much you need to order from a manufacturer before they will work with you. And typical minimum order quantities depend on the product. For instance, with cocktail cards, they said that at a minimum, we'd have to order 500 units. Now, let's say that we find a manufacturer that we like. We're gonna click on the manufacturer. We're gonna review everything here. We can look at the reviews. We can see that this is a 4.9 out of 5-star review, which is pretty good. And we can chat now with them, or we can send an inquiry. And if I wanted to start working with them, I'd send them a message and say, I'm looking to create a product with 100 flashcards. I want it to be about 4 by 6 inches for each flashcard. I'm gonna need a box and maybe even show them an example of a box that you want your cards to look like. And then give them a little bit of details. You don't need to tell them exactly what's gonna be on the flashcards, but you can ask them, how much is this gonna cost? What is the minimum order quantity? And I actually recommend you saying something to the effect of, we're looking to do a production run of around 10,000 units, but we wanna do a test run first. What is your minimum order quantity? And what is your pricing if we order 500 units, 2,000 units, and 10,000 units? Always show them that you're interested in buying more units in the future. And keep in mind, a lot of these manufacturers, even though they show products that they sell, they will allow you to customize the product. And for cocktail cards, we told them we want to have our own designs. And they're like, yeah, of course we can do that. So what I recommend you do is go through and contact as many manufacturers as you can. You can also do an RFQ, and this is a request for quotation. And this is where you fill in what your sourcing requirements are. You would say something like 100 flash cards, 4 by 6, what the box dimensions would be, everything like that. And then you click Get Quotes Now, and all the manufacturers will send messages to you. I recommend doing both, the RFQ and going through this list and contacting as many manufacturers individually as possible. And then you can create a spreadsheet and put all the different manufacturers' names, as well as what their minimum order quantity is, what their pricing is at the 500 tier, the 2,000 tier, the 10,000 tier, or whatever numbers that you're interested in getting. And then before you actually commit to a manufacturer, you can look through this list and see who is the person that you most want to work with. Now, I do have a spreadsheet template that you can use, as well as a complete checklist that includes everything that you should make sure that your manufacturer has before you commit to them. All of that is in my Amazon FBA program, the Passion Products Formula. There is a link down below if you're interested in joining that. And some of the things that are on the checklist and some things that you should be thinking about when you're looking to work with a manufacturer is you should ask them, what is their lead time? And the lead time is how long it takes them from when you place an order until you actually receive your order. And warning, this is really important. Right now with Carnivore Electrolytes, the product that I'm launching in just 7 days, the lead time has been insanely long, and they told us it would be one thing, and it's actually ended up being longer, which means that we've had to delay the launch of our Amazon FBA product. Another thing that you want to look for when working with manufacturers, do you enjoy having conversations with them? Do you have a good relationship? Because if they're taking a long time to respond right now, that's not gonna get better. The response time should be the shortest before you ever pay them any money, because as soon as you put in a deposit, they have your money, and there's not as much of incentive for them to win you over. It's the same thing with dating. If someone's acting crazy on their first, second, or third date, you might want to avoid them because they're only going to get crazier. There are a bunch of other things on the checklist as well, like willingness to sign an NNN. And an NNN stands for non-compete, non-disclosure, and non-circumvent. And this is a way for you to protect the privacy of your product, to make sure that they won't copy your product. And that is something to be aware of. Sometimes these Chinese manufacturers will copy your product. And that's one of the other reasons why we did not go with Alibaba.com for creating this product. The next most common way that people work with manufacturers is using Google. And look I typed in electrolyte powder. And for those that don't know, Carnivore Electrolytes is going to be an electrolyte powder specifically targeted towards people that are on the carnivore diet. And when I type in electrolyte powder manufacturer, we see a ton of different options here. And let's open some of these up. Let's take a look. And look, this one's even private label Santa Monica. I live in Santa Monica, and I would love to find a manufacturer close to me. And that is something to keep in mind. When you're first working with a manufacturer, if you can find someone in the same city as you, even if they're a little bit more expensive, it's gonna make your life so much easier. Now keep in mind, these first couple listings are sponsored, meaning people are paying for them. So we're gonna wanna look at some other ones. And look, Alibaba's even on this list here, Vital Packs. And let's just look at the first one here. Powder manufacturers, flavors and formulas infinite, fastest turnaround. So they're telling you right now what the lead time is, but they're saying the fastest turnaround is 4 weeks. Minimum order, call us, get a quote. And all I would recommend doing is giving them a call and actually having a conversation. And here's a huge tip. When you are looking for a manufacturer, especially in the United States, sure, feel free to send emails, but the best way to actually develop a relationship is to get on the phone. And a lot of these manufacturers are old school. They don't use email. They don't even have websites, a lot of them. Or if they do have websites, they're really old school. And we'll talk about how to find those old school manufacturing companies that are gonna be even a little bit cheaper in just a second. That's thomasnet.com is one of the ways that I recommend doing it. But let's look at a couple more of these websites. Health, wellness, and supplement manufacturing. Again, they're really pushing for you to give them a call. We can click on get a free quote. You can put your information in here, but I don't recommend just sending out emails and sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting. I recommend getting on the phone, getting a hold of these people. And that's actually how I found my first manufacturer ever. I made a list of all the manufacturers of nut butters, because my first product that did over $1 million in sales on Amazon was a nut butter brand. And I couldn't find any manufacturer that would want to make this product, because I made a product that was macadamia, coconut, and cashew, blended it up, put it into individual serve pouches. No one was willing to work with me. And so what I did is I called every single company I could think of. And I called one company and I said, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And they said, sorry, we can't help you. And what I always recommend you doing when you get that response is ask them, do you know anyone that might be able to help you? And I found someone that said, yeah, you know what? One of our competitors actually does exactly what you're looking for. And it's surprising how nice people are. So I recommend getting them on the phone, tell them your story, tell them your idea, tell them how excited you are for this business, and let them buy in, let them be excited as well. And then if you ask them, hey, can you help me? And actually the manufacturer that I ended up going with at first told me no. They said, no, I can't help you. But I called them back a week later and I explained like, look, I've been trying everywhere. What's it gonna take for us to work together? They ended up saying, you know what? Let's do it, because they liked me and they were excited to work with me. So we have a bunch of other manufacturers here, and you can see that you can even hire people to formulate your recipe. $5,000 is way too much. I ended up spending a lot less than that to formulate my recipe. And just in case you're curious, the way that we formulated my recipe is I told the manufacturer, hey, these are the ingredients I want. I found a product that was relatively similar and said, I want it to be like this, but I want to add a little bit more of this, a little bit less of this, and they just made it for me. It wasn't complicated. You don't need a degree. You don't need to spend $5,000. Just contact your manufacturer, tell them what you want, and they will help work with you. So we can see already we've found a number of different manufacturers, but this is actually not the way that I used to find my manufacturer. The true answer on how I found my manufacturer was I knew someone that had joined my Amazon FBA program. His name is Mina, and he launched a electrolyte powder brand, and his business was doing over $100,000 a month. He started with $1,500. In his first year, he did over $200,000. And the last time I checked in with him, he was doing over $100,000 per month. And I told him about this idea of launching this new brand, Carnivore Electrolytes, and he said, buddy, I got you. And he set me up with his manufacturer, which I don't have listed here as a way to find a manufacturer, but that's actually the real answer, and the biggest and one of the best ways that I now find manufacturers is through my network. Now I understand you might not have a network. You might not know people that have started a bunch of Amazon businesses, but I have, and I'm willing to help you to find your manufacturer. In fact, if you join my Amazon FBA program, the Passion Products Formula, again, link down below, I have a huge list of a bunch of manufacturers that I have personally worked with, as well as we've had students that have added vendors and manufacturers that they've worked with on this list. And when you join my Amazon FBA program, there is a Facebook group where you can go in and you can ask questions, and you can ask people, hey, has anyone found a manufacturer for this kind of a product? And everyone is so nice in the group. Everyone is willing to help you because they know that if they help you, you're likely to help them later in the future. In fact, a lot of people will join the program just to promote their product in the Facebook group. And what ends up happening is when you go to launch your product on Amazon, all the people that are part of this group are going to buy your product. They're going to leave 5-star reviews. Obviously, they're hoping you'll do the same for them. But when you're part of this program and you're part of this family, your first couple sales are going to come from us because we understand how important it is. So before I show you how to use thomasnet.com, keep in mind that one of the best ways, if you're getting stuck trying to find a manufacturer, join my program. I'll help you find a manufacturer. And thomasnet.com works very similar to Alibaba.com, where you type in what you're looking for. If we go in here and we type in electrolytes and we click search, we can see a ton of different categories come up. Electrolyte beverages, that's something that's interesting. Let's open that in a new tab and we can view all electrolyte categories here. Now, a lot of these don't apply. It's like battery acid. Electrolyte beverage enhancers is actually probably the best one. And there is only one supplier, but what we can do is we can see that they're in San Diego, which is really close by. They've done between $1 and $4.9 million. They've been open since 2016, so they've been open a while, and it's a small business, which means that likely they're willing to work with us. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna click on this manufacturer and we're gonna read a little bit about them. We're gonna look at their business details. You can even look up here and look at their certifications. We can get some more information. And if we like what we see, we can either call the supplier or visit their website to get even more information. But I understand that sometimes it's a little bit harder to find a manufacturer. And I wanna share with you 4 different tips I have that if you're struggling to find a manufacturer that you can use to find your own manufacturer. And after I show you the 4 ways that you can find a manufacturer, I'll share with you how you can get your product shipped from your manufacturer into the Amazon FBA warehouse. And this is true whether your product's overseas or whether it's in the United States. I'll talk about both those different ways and how you can do it, as well as something a lot of people don't think about is how you can get your product inspected. Because let's say you're producing your product overseas in China, you buy thousands of dollars worth of products, you don't want it to get shipped into the United States and then it ends up that your product's crap. You can hire an inspector for around like $100 and they'll make sure that you have a quality product before it gets shipped out. And if not, your manufacturer will have to fix it. But first, let me share with you 4 more ways that you can find a manufacturer for your Amazon FBA product. Here's a secret. You can actually use a tool in Jungle Scout to find who is the manufacturer for almost any product on Amazon. You'll just go to suppliers here and then to the supplier database. Click on the company tab and type in the company that you're trying to figure out who their manufacturer is. So if I type in yoga mat into Amazon, I see a bunch of different yoga mat companies. One of them is this Gaiam company right here. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it into the Jungle Scout tool right here. And we're gonna click search. And you can see this company listed and you can see who their top suppliers are. So if you have competitors in your market and you wanna figure out who they're using as manufacturers, this is an absolutely amazing tool. And I do have the hookup with Jungle Scout. There's a link in the description down below, as well as a discount. So if you are gonna sign up with Jungle Scout, I highly recommend using the discounted link in the description down below. But you can even, if you want to, search by ASIN. So instead of searching by company right here, we could take the ASIN number, which if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see the ASIN number and we can copy this and we can paste it in here. And you can find, like I said, the manufacturer for just about any product on Amazon. Now, this tool isn't always 100% accurate, but it's very surprising how often it is accurate. Another way I highly recommend to finding manufacturers is to type into Google whatever your product is, space conventions. Go to the website of the convention that is in your industry, and you can look at who are exhibiting. And you can either go to this convention yourself, walk around the convention and talk to everybody, or you can go to the list of people that are exhibiting at the convention. For instance, we see here, this is the 2023 exhibitor list, and there's a growing list right here. And you can contact each one of those people individually. Oftentimes at these kind of conventions, it's going to be suppliers and manufacturers. Now, I know a lot of people are not based in the United States. Maybe, for instance, if you're based in the UK or in Europe and you're looking for a manufacturer that's based in your home countries, you can use websites like europages.co.uk to find a manufacturer in the UK or in Europe. And it's very similar to the way that Alibaba works. You would just type in whatever you're looking for a manufacturer for, scroll around, and you can see, for instance, this manufacturer is based in France and they're verified by europages.com. You can click on their profile and you can navigate to find out more information about them. But if you're still struggling to find a manufacturer, my last piece of advice is to hire somebody. And you can hire a sourcing agent. And this is one site, Makers Row, where you can hire a concierge service for about $1,000, and they are going to be an expert in the industry and they're going to help you to find a manufacturer. Now, Makers Row is a website that you can use to find manufacturers for on your own, and it's about $400 a year, or you can hire a concierge service. In addition to this website, you can just go to Google, type in whatever your product is, space agent, and they'll be able to help you to find a manufacturer. Now, if you're still struggling, you can always go to LinkedIn and find people that are in your industry, send them a message and ask them if you could pay them for their time. But at this point, you've found a manufacturer, and I know for Carnivore Electrolytes, we've already found our manufacturer, we've already paid them, and let me share some details on how it worked with us. For Carnivore Electrolytes, we actually paid 50% up front, and then we're gonna pay the other 50% after they're done with the manufacturing. And I'm gonna go in person, I'm gonna inspect it, I'm gonna make sure everything is good. But if you're getting your product manufactured overseas, you can send an agent into the warehouse and you can actually have them inspect the product. And one way that you can find an agent is if you go to Alibaba.com, you go to Buyer Central, you can click on Production Monitoring and Inspection Services. And look here, production monitoring is only $48 and inspection is $118. And when you get your products inspected, they give you a giant PDF report with pictures of your products. They test it out. They tell you what the grade is. They'll check a bunch of different products at random to make sure that they're all up to their standards. Now, if you do like your product, it's time for you to get it sent into the Amazon warehouse. And again, if you're getting your product from overseas, Alibaba has logistics services. It's very simple to use. A lot of times your manufacturer will also have logistics services, but you just go in here and you have the origin of China, and your manufacturer will give you their specific address and then the destination, and you can get this through Amazon if you're getting it sent directly into Amazon, or you could have it sent to your office or your warehouse or even your house if you want, and then you can decide whether or not you want to do air shipping or sea shipping. Now, keep in mind, air shipping is going to be faster, but it's also more expensive. Sea shipping is going to take longer, oftentimes between like 4 to 6 weeks, but it's going to be a lot cheaper. Air shipping usually takes like a few days, maybe a week at most. Now, if your product's being manufactured in the United States, you can go to freightquote.com. There's a bunch of other websites that are similar, and all you have to do is put in your requested loading date. So when you want the trucking service to pick up your product, you can put in the origin. I'm just gonna put in one zip code here, and you can put in the destination. I'll put another one in here and click start your quote, and you can choose between a few different services. Now, if you're new to this, you're probably going to be choosing LTL. LTL stands for less than truckload. Oftentimes your manufacturer will pack your products onto pallets, and a pallet takes less than a full truckload, so you would click LTL. Now, on the other hand, if it's just a small box, you can click on small parcel, but if you're doing small parcel, and we actually did this for Rocket Tea. We just had about 6 boxes and we sent those using UPS. You can use UPS or FedEx. Now, if you're sending it into the Amazon warehouse, you're gonna wanna use UPS, and you're gonna wanna go through Amazon's website. And I'll show you how to do that in a future video, but it's very simple. On the other hand, if you are looking to send in a full truckload, you can click this option. But anyways, let's just click LTL just so you get an idea. And let's go standard LTL, click next, next. Next. And they even have an option for Amazon warehouse if you're going to be sending a product into the Amazon warehouse. From here, you fill out some more information and they're going to give you a list of quotes. And that's really it. And once you click submit, the trucking company will go to your manufacturer, pick it up and drop it off at the Amazon warehouse. I know when I first did this, I was really stressed out because I didn't know if my manufacturer was gonna know what to do. I didn't know if the Amazon FBA warehouse was gonna know how to handle this. But this is what these companies do all day long. It's very simple, very straightforward, and that's how simple it is to get your product manufactured and shipped into the Amazon warehouse. And if you're looking for even more information on how to start your own Amazon FBA business, I do have a free 8-hour course that you can get by clicking the link right here. So click on that link. I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.